Hamas has released two more hostages, two women, one 85 years old, a Holocaust survivor, the other 80 years old. While Hamas claims that the two women were released out of humanitarian grounds, out of the goodness of their heart, the Israeli Defense Forces disagree. They say Hamas also is under pressure because Israel's constantly pounding Hamas strongholds. But the question also remains, 4 have been released so far. What about more than 220 others? Now, this is one of the worst crises when it comes to hostages in Israel's history. Families, friends, citizens in Israel want their government to do a lot more. They want the US President Joe Biden, other world leaders to put a lot of pressure on Hamas so that the hostages are released as quickly and as safely as possible. All of that clearly easier said than done.
Hamas releases 2 more hostages. The Israeli women were freed after mediation by Qatar and Egypt. Nurit Cooper and Yocheved Lifshitz, both in their 80s, were taken hostage by Hamas from their homes in Kibbutz Nir Oz, Israel, during the terror attack on October 7. Hamas claimed it was releasing the hostages on humanitarian and health grounds.
While she was being taken, she was hit by sticks by Shabab. Yeah, Shabab people.
Though their husbands still remain in Hamas custody.
Let them stop this aggression and you will find the mediators like Qatar and some Arab countries like Egypt and others. They will find a way to have them released and we will send them to their families.
As they were released, one of the hostages shook hands with the Hamas fighter and called for peace. Tel Aviv said videos that show Hamas treating hostages well are part of mind games the terrorist outfit is playing.
Egypt plays a key role on the issue of the hostages and missing people. The efforts that it is putting into the issue are effective and appreciated. We are working with Egypt in the cooperation and are grateful for Egypt and the Red Cross for their work on this issue.
Israel has stressed there will be no ceasefire till all hostages are freed by Hamas. The United States has backed Israel's stand.
Is the U.S. supporting the hostages for a ceasefire deal?
Why did you? We should have a ceasefire. Not a ceasefire, we should have those hostages released. Then we can talk.
Hamas is still holding more than 200 innocent civilians as hostages, while Israel has intensified its bombardment of Gaza to exert more pressure on Hamas. Negotiations are happening alongside to obtain the freedom of hostages. Bureau Report, India Today.
Gaurav and I have reported hostage situations many times in the past in different places in the world, including in Kashmir. And I can tell you that Israel has always had a formidable, fearsome reputation for never negotiating with terrorists. You've probably heard of that reputation as well. But in 1972, that reputation really began. It was called Operation Wrath of God because of what happened to Israeli athletes at the 1972 Munich Olympics. They were murdered by militants and terrorists, and then Israel's formidable, much feared Mossad external intelligence agencies decided to take things into its own hands and hunt those killers down. Operation Wrath of God has gone into the books for all the right reasons. Take a look.
September 5, 1972. A darkest chapter unfolds in Olympic history. Members of the Israeli team taken hostage inside the Olympic village in Munich by Palestinian militants. 2 were shot dead almost immediately. Others were killed during a gun battle with West German police at a nearby airfield as the attackers tried to take them out of the country. What followed was a vengeful aftermath of the murder of 11 Israeli athletes. Mossad, Israel's foreign intelligence agency, launched reprisal missions. Called Operation Wrath of God, the assassination campaign believed to have taken years. The perpetrators of the Munich massacre began to die mysteriously in months after Wrath of God was unleashed in 1972. In all, Mossad assassinated at least 11 people alleged to have been involved in the Munich atrocities. In 1976, Israeli commandos rescued 100 hostages, mostly Israeli, held by pro-Palestinian hijackers at Entebbe airport in Uganda. About 200 elite troops ran out and stormed the airport building. And in a 35-minute battle that followed, 20 Ugandan soldiers and all 7 hijackers died along with the 3 hostages. But what unfolded on October 7, 2023 was unprecedented. A brazen incursion, killings and abductions on Israeli territory that took the country's military and its intelligence services by surprise. With Hamas claiming to be holding anywhere between 200 to 250 hostages in the Gaza Strip, densely populated and cramped, the trademark Israeli revenge would be better if served cold, and with a strategy that prevents the humanitarian crisis in the tiny enclave from compounding. Bureau Report, India Today.